The Imperium did not defeat chaos. It never truly could. What it did instead was far more consequential. It taught chaos how to survive victory, how to abandon urgency, how to transform from a predator into an ecosystem. During the Great Crusade, chaos was dangerous, but it was also crude. It relied on passion without structure, rebellion without permanence, worship without scale. It corrupted individuals, shattered worlds, ignited wars that burned brightly, and then collapsed under their own excess. Chaos was reactive, it was emotional, it was forced to gamble. The Horus Heresy itself was not the act of a confident power executing a flawless plan. It was a desperate lunge, a high-risk seizure of opportunity when the Emperor drew too close to transcendence. Horus was not chosen because he was inevitable. He was chosen because time was running out, and chaos almost lost everything because of it. The heresy devastated the Imperium, but it also taught chaos a lesson it would never forget. Decisive victory is dangerous. Total collapse invites resistance, renewal, unpredictability. A galaxy reduced to ash cannot sustain beliefs, fear, ambition, despair. Chaos does not thrive in emptiness. It thrives in continuity. The Imperium, in its wounded survival, offered exactly that. After the heresy, chaos changed, not in doctrine but in behavior. It ceased trying to end the Imperium and instead learned how to live inside it. The Imperium believed it had endured the worst catastrophe imaginable and emerged still standing. Chaos understood something far more profound. It understood that the Imperium, precisely as it now existed, was better than conquest. A civilization locked in endless war produces a constant, renewable output of rage, grief, terror, and desperation. A bureaucracy so vast that no single mind can comprehend it generates infinite complexity, contradiction, and unintended consequence. A culture that worships suffering as virtue refines despair into something stable, something reliable. The Imperium did not starve the gods, it standardized their nourishment. Before the heresy, belief was chaotic, fragmented, personal. Faith varied wildly across worlds. Fear was localized. Emotion spiked and vanished. The warp reflected this instability. After the heresy, belief became centralized, ritualized, codified, enforced. Trillions of humans now feared the same things, prayed the same words, hated the same enemies, mourned the same losses. This was not spiritual chaos. This was industrial production. Chaos adapted accordingly. Khorne did not require berserkers screaming into the void. He received slaughter measured in casualty reports, supply chains calibrated to sustain war without end. Commanders who never felt rage at all yet ordered planetary annihilation with perfect detachment. Tzeentch did not need forbidden libraries alone. He gained the Administratum, a maze of decrees, revisions, forgotten edicts, and self-contradicting laws where outcomes are decided not by intent but by misinterpretation. Nurgle did not need plague worlds as anomalies. He inherited a civilization that venerates endurance, that teaches its citizens to accept decay as normal, to find meaning in survival without improvement, to call stagnation resilience. Slaanesh did not need excess in its crude form. It fed on repression, guilt, ritual purity, self-flagellation, on desires denied so completely they metastasized into obsession. Chaos no longer whispered to outcasts alone. It was embedded into the rhythm of imperial life. The Emperor's great project had aimed to sever humanity from the warp by denying the gods' belief, by replacing superstition with reason, by controlling psychic evolution through discipline and secrecy. That project failed catastrophically, but its failure produced something even more valuable to chaos: a galaxy where belief is mandatory, but hope is forbidden. The Imperial Creed does not inspire transcendence. It enforces submission. It does not promise a better future. It promises survival through obedience. This creates a psychic environment unlike anything chaos had encountered before, stable, predictable, endless. The warp became less volatile, not because it was weakened, but because it was regulated by despair. Guilliman understands this. It is written between the lines of his thoughts in the Dark Imperium. He sees a civilization that cannot change fast enough to escape its own momentum. He commands armies capable of winning wars that no longer matter. He reforms institutions that regenerate corruption faster than he can excise it. He does not fear chaos because it is strong. He fears it because it no longer needs to be. Chaos has learned patience from the Imperium. It has learned that a permanent stalemate is superior to victory, because victory ends the game. Stagnation sustains it. At this point in the long war, chaos does not seek the fall of terror. It seeks the continuation of terror. It does not need the Emperor dead. It benefits more from him entombed, worshipped, misunderstood, his original vision inverted into an engine of faith he would have found abhorrent. The Golden Throne is not a bulwark against chaos. It is a psychic beacon broadcasting pain, sacrifice, and devotion without end. And here, pause for a moment, because this is where the real horror settles in. If chaos learned patience from the Imperium, if it learned optimization instead of rebellion, then ask yourself this, and leave your answer in the comments, not as a joke, but as a genuine position. Was the Horus Heresy truly an attempt to win the war, or was it chaos discovering how not to lose it? After the heresy, chaos stopped rushing. The long war is not long because it is difficult. It is long because it is perfect. Every imperial victory reinforces the system that feeds the warp. Every world saved is returned to the same machinery of tithes, conscription, repression, and endless mobilization. Every act of heroism becomes legend, legend becomes doctrine, doctrine becomes ritual, ritual becomes belief. Chaos no longer needs to corrupt heroes. It profits more from martyrs. The Imperium thinks it is holding the line. Chaos understands that the line is permanent. There will be no enlightenment, no renaissance, no sudden awakening that breaks the cycle, because the Imperium has structured itself to prevent such change. Innovation is heresy. Reform is sedition. Hope is dangerous. The Emperor once sought to guide humanity through a narrow window of psychic evolution, to protect it until it could stand without gods. Instead, humanity has become a single, vast, synchronized organism of belief, locked into patterns that reinforce the warp with every heartbeat. Chaos did not conquer this system. It studied it. It adapted to it. It learned how to win without ending the war. And that is the final truth the Imperium cannot face. Not that it will fall tomorrow. Not that chaos will triumph in some apocalyptic finale. But that the Imperium, exactly as it exists now, is the optimal state for chaos to endure forever. The galaxy is not on the brink of damnation. It has already settled into it. The war has no conclusion because it no longer requires one. And in the grim darkness of the far future, that is not a failure of resistance. It is the greatest lesson chaos ever learned.